This is Rainbow Kart, a level I recently made in Geometry Dash. It's a playable recreation of Rainbow Road from Super Mario Kart, complete with lap counts, a respawn system, and this custom timer that doesn't use the in-game timer object. I'll explain why in a bit. I uploaded this level a few weeks ago, and I've been happy to see the response it got in that time. A lot of people enjoyed the level, but mostly people were wondering how I managed to make this 3D level in Geometry Dash, and I wanted to talk about how and why I did that too. So why did I make this level? Well, I love Mario Kart, and I highly recommend it if you somehow haven't played it. The real thing is better than my level in every way, but when I realized I could maybe make it in Geometry Dash, I knew I had to. Okay, but you probably just want to know how I made this level. Well, I should probably start by clearing a few things up. First, this is not actually a 3D level. It's just a really fancy 2D level. Or, well, 2.5D I guess, since it has some effects to look like it's 3D. Here's what it looks like without the 3D effect. Second, people are asking how I did this less than a week after 2.2 released. Well, the answer to that is I started making this level back in September, back before we knew when 2.2 was really releasing. My plan was to make as much of the level as possible in 2.1, while learning as much as I could about what was doable in the leaked 2.2 editor. That way, when the update actually released, I could finish the level in a matter of days. So here's how it works. First, I needed a track and some player sprites. Fortunately, I have a script I wrote for a previous project that helps me import pixel art into a Geometry Dash level. A lot of people thought I used gradient triggers here for the track, but 1, that would use too many objects, 2, I couldn't use gradient triggers in 2.1, and 3, I only learned how to use gradient triggers after uploading this level. Okay, so I just needed to decide on a track and character. I picked SNES Rainbow Road for a few reasons. First, it's iconic. The first ever Rainbow Road is definitely a good pick for representing Mario Kart. But the real reason I picked it is because gameplay-wise, this was the easiest one to do. As for the character, I had an idea to change the character's color depending on your icon's color. With the limited roster of Super Mario Kart, this narrowed it down to Yoshi or Toad. Yeah, that's an easy choice. The first part of the gameplay is being able to drive around. This is really simple. For driving forward, you just detect when the player clicks and move the track down while you hold. Easy. Although I ended up going a step further and detecting the height of a ship to determine how fast the track should move. Then I can detect when the player presses left or right and just turn the track under the player. This system of steering is actually nothing new. Here's a 5-year-old level that uses it. Although I did add a bit of polish to it by making the angle you turn at also use an acceleration system. I really only did this so that the moving background would look a little nicer without any desync from steering. But speaking of desyncing from steering, there's actually a bug in Geometry Dash where objects with collision can desync from objects without collision if you move and rotate them enough. It was enough to throw off this level by a lot. I was ready to just look at going for gears and copy whatever workaround the Onyx guy made, but to my surprise, there wasn't one. It just wasn't affected by the glitch as much as my level. So I was on my own here, and the solution I ended up going with was to make the track entirely out of objects that have collision. Now in order to do that, I had to find an object that's square-shaped, has a hitbox, can be colored, and can be free rotated. If I could find one of those, I could use it for the track, and I found one. This spike thing was just the thing I needed. I imported the track again and set aside the new copy for 2.2 since I couldn't actually use it in 2.1. The next bit of gameplay is detecting when you drive around the track. This works using a collision block for the player and collision blocks for a few checkpoints. I set the final checkpoint at the finish line, which means that if you drive through all the checkpoints, the level can count a lap. These jump ramps are pretty simple. Since I have a collision block where the player is, I can just add more collision blocks for each ramp. If they collide, it plays a jump animation and disables that kind of collision until the animation ends. Pretty simple. The edge of the road is less simple. I kept changing how it worked as I was making the level, mainly because I was realizing I actually had a lot of time to improve it before 2.2. At first, you just died if you fell off. Then I tried a few respawn systems until eventually settling on a checkpoint-based system. There are 20 respawn checkpoints around the track, and the track is also lined with collision blocks to detect if you fall off. Each time you drive into a checkpoint, your respawn point gets set to that checkpoint. If you fall off, an animation plays, the track moves back to your respawn point, and you get to continue on as if nothing happened. I made the timer in 2.1, so it's just a separate count object for each digit counting up on a spawn loop. If the timer hits certain values, coins get taken away at the end instead of being given to you. Nothing crazy here. Okay, but the real question is, how did I make the 3D effect on the track? This was something I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make work before actually getting my hands on the 2.2 editor. I figured the trick was the new shader triggers, specifically the bulge and pinch triggers. I wanted to make a perspective effect like the real game at first, but everything I tried with that just looked disorienting. After a lot of trial and error, and I mean a lot, I had an effect I thought was acceptable. This is why the level isn't really 3D. I think we've still got some time before someone makes actual 3D gameplay. For now, we've just got 3D effects. But this effect had a problem. The pinch trigger can't pull in objects from off screen. So there's this ugly pop-in effect as you drive through the track. I can't really fix this, but I can at least make it look better. Using an area fade trigger, I can change the pop-in to a much more visually pleasing fade-in effect. So for those of you wondering why you can't see very far, sorry, but I don't think I can do anything about that without redoing a lot of the level and adding a lot of lag, which I don't think is worth it. I hope that answers most of your questions about how I made this. Now I do also want to talk for a bit about what happened after I uploaded the level. I expected it would gain traction eventually, but I never expected it to explode immediately after uploading it. It even got rated in just 35 minutes, which even for a level like this is absurdly lucky. Don't expect similar results for your level, because I'm not expecting it to happen this easily or quickly for me ever again. Also, this achievement says you need to get a star rated level, but I got it for getting a moon rated level. Might want to update this text in the next patch or up top. Most people were really impressed with the level, but some people ran into some issues with it. Plenty of people were finding bugs, and some of those were game bugs that just never happened for me. I added low detail mode to hopefully make the level more stable for those players. It also hopefully fixed the lag some people complained about, which again didn't happen for me, even on my 8-year-old tablet that I specifically used to test for lag. It also seemed that I'd recreated the original steering system from Super Mario Kart a bit too well, by which I mean it was terrible and awful and everyone complained about it. So I updated the level to make it feel less slippery. Yeah, this is way better. So if you see comments complaining about the steering, just know that they might have had it worse than you. Some people have asked for more characters, and to that I say no, absolutely not. Yoshi has 28 sprites in this level, each of which uses hundreds of objects. Most of the objects in this level are Yoshi. The closest you're getting to more characters is different color Yoshis, okay? I did what I could for character customization. A lot of people have asked what the copy passcode is, but I've also seen some people who figured it out, because I did mean for it to be guessable. It's 1992, the year Super Mario Kart originally released. I'll be updating the level sometime around when I upload this to hide it somewhere in the level and also make these changes. Overall, I like to think of this level as a taste of what's possible in 2.2. I mean, if this is what's been done already, imagine what crazy things people are going to be making a year from now. Geometry Dash is basically a game engine at this point. Honestly, not a very good one, but still a game engine. People are joking about it, but I really do believe someone will eventually make Doom in Geometry Dash. I can hardly wait to see, and I'll try to make some other wild stuff happen myself. See you then!